Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to the Wristwatch News channel. I'm Nick, and today we're going to be reviewing the Nivada Grenchen Chronoking Paul Newman. If you're new to the channel, we like to review watches, watch accessories, and watch content. If that's what gets you up in the morning, well, you're in the right place. The only Nivada I knew before getting into watches made graphics cards. So Nivada, the watch brand, wasn't really on my radar. However, since getting the Chronoking in on review from Arbinger Watches, that's Tom at Arbinger Watches, I suggest you check him out. The links are going to be in the description. Nivada is now firmly in my crosshairs. The Chronoking is 70s inspired and it is very cool. But is it any good? Well, there's only one way to find out. And that's to review it. That's what we're going to do. What do you get if you buy a Nivada Grenchen Chronoking? Well, first off, you get a black branded cardboard outer box. When you open the lid, you are greeted with this very 70s image and the quote, "In complete command of time." I love it. Take out the watch box, and at the bottom of the outer cardboard box, it welcomes you to the Nivada Grenchen Owners Club, which is a nice touch. So that cool design you see as you open the cardboard box is a sleeve protecting the actual watch box, which is a grey leatherette coffin style with a felted bottom. Felted. You lift the coffin lid to reveal a bit of foam covering the watch for protection during transit. Nestled below is the watch on a black felt cushion. But before we get the watch out, I want to draw your attention to the underside of the lid, as that's where the warranty card is. 2-year warranty, and this one belonging to Tom at Arbinger Watches, marked as number 71, but sadly not dated or signed, which has disappointed me a little. If you're going to have a warranty card that states date and signature on it, date and sign it. But when you sell it, being sold online doesn't mean jack either. In my opinion, I'm sure whoever packages the watch to be sent can sign and date a card. Sincere apologies if everyone at Nivada Grenchen don't have fingers. Also on the underside of the lid is a bit of info about the Chronoking and a picture of the watch. I really like what Nivada have done with this packaging. It feels like quality, and just like the watch, it's pretty cool. Under that bit of foam, of course, we have the watch itself and a pretty substantial hang tag. The Chronoking we have here is the Paul Newman. I've watched a few movies with Paul Newman in, but I can't say I am a big fan. I've never really understood the hype of owning a watch linked to Paul Newman, or any watch linked to a celebrity, to be honest, apart from maybe the Elvis watch I've got, that's the same as one in Men in Black, the Hamilton. And also maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger's. I grew up watching his movies, but then I know that any watch that Arnie would wear would be massive and likely not to my taste. Nivada Grenchen are one of those companies that stopped trading and has been brought back to life. So although Nivada Grenchen was founded in 1926, the original company stopped trading in the 1980s. Although saying that, an arm of the company has continued trading to this day in Mexico. The Nivada Grenchen who made this particular watch, however, was rebirthed, as they call it, in 2018. I found out about the Mexican arm via Fratello and an interesting article on Nivada's brand history by Brandon Baines. Go check it out. The link will be in the description. Nivada today saw that desire for vintage models and have really leaned into the brand's history. The watches they are producing almost like for like to the originals, and by doing so they are producing very cool watches. The Depth Master of the 80s being a personal favourite of mine. Look at that thing. Those numerals are fire. All right, on to the stats. So, model number 87034Q17. It's 316L stainless steel, case size of 38mm, a thickness of 13.7mm. The crown is 6.3mm and the pushers are 4.3mm. Lug to lug, you got 46.5mm, a lug width of 20mm. Double dome sapphire crystal with a tinge of blue anti-reflective coating. The movement is a TMI Seiko VK63 mechaquartz. It's a bi-directional rotating bezel. It's got Super 1345C Lume, 100 meters of water resistance, and the total weight is 67 grams on the supplied leather strap, and it's got a 2-year warranty. The original Chronokings used a tonneau case rather than the round case that we have here. The case is primarily brushed with a vertical brush on top of the lug and a horizontal brush on the case sides. A high polish to the side of those angular drilled lugs add a nice little pop of light play. The watch was supplied on this gorgeous black leather racing style strap with quality signed hardware and quick release spring bars. The leather is of such a good quality, and as Tom at Abinger hadn't seemed to have worn it on the strap, I chose not to as well, as I didn't want to crease up his strap. So I've been wearing on a few different options, one of my favourites being this Bond clip style bracelet, as it suits the 70s style, and Nivada thinks so as well, as they offer a Bond clip style bracelet as a strap choice, but it will cost you an extra $200, whereas I picked up this one from AliExpress for under 20. The case back is pretty much identical to the case backs from the 70s, with an embossed Nivada Grenchen at the center of a bead blasted circle with the shield logo, and then the details running around the outside of the case back, such as sapphire, Chronoking, water resistance, mechaquartz, and Swiss assembled. The bezel is a frictionless bidirectional bezel with an aluminium insert in keeping with a vintage aesthetic. One thing I loathe about some vintage reissues is when they add a ceramic bezel. It just looks so out of place, whereas the insert here being black with silver markings is perfect. Nice sized crown, aligning well with the case and the pushers, which is signed with the Nivada shield. The dial could be described as busy, but all the elements work together to create a very intriguing layout, inspired by one of the 70s prominent Swiss dial manufacturers, Gene Singer, who is famously known for designing the Rolex Paul Newman dials, hence the name, but also produced dials for the Omega Speedmaster Racing, Hua, and Universal Geneve. The matte black dial has 3 antique gold subdials with Art Deco Paul Newman style numerals within. The subdials each have a concentric pattern to catch the light and are sunken within the dial. An element I love is that the side of the sunken subdials is high polish and catches the light with a brilliant flash that I find really pleasing. A bright orange gradient minute track outlines the dial, giving it what could have been a gearish pop of colour, but the hue of orange used works well with the antique gold subdials and then the Lume colour. The outermost perimeter of the dial has a thin black section that frames that bright orange minute track and a printed tachymeter scale in white. Freestanding rectangular Lume plots made of Super 1345C Lume, which has a pleasant patina tone, marking the hours apart from 6 where the subdial has taken up all the space. Nivada Grenchen Chronoking printed in white above the pinion with the shield logo, and again I gotta say, Chronoking. Now that is a cool name. Baton style hands also filled with the Super 1345C Lume, which again evoke that vintage aesthetic. As you will see later though, that patina effect comes at a cost to the Lume. A simple orange chrono hand to match the orange minute track. I have seen some people refer to the chronograph hand as red, but to my eye it's orange, so I'm saying orange. Double dome sapphire crystal with a tinge of blue anti-reflective coating. Not sure how many layers there are, as it doesn't state on the website, but it is just at the edge of the crystal, not sort of covering the whole thing, so can't be too many layers or very good anti-reflective coating. One or the other. The Lume looks lovely with its nice aged patina, but it is shocking. I know they're evoking a vintage watch, but one of the benefits of reissuing old designs with new parts is the fact you can have decent Lume. Of course, aged Lume is less bright than BGW9 C3, but you can get aged Lume that is very bright and has longevity. So no excuse for Nivada here in my opinion. Test here over 10 minutes against a watch I bought on AliExpress for $5. Chronokings utilize Valjoux 72 movements. In this version of the reissue, we have a Seiko VK64A mechaquartz. This type of movement combines the precision of quartz with the tactile feel of a mechanical movement. In case you don't know, this is a type of hybrid movement, so the quartz module keeps the time, and the mechanical assembly is used to run the chronograph mechanism. On to the good, the bad, and the ugly now. So, the good. The watch is achingly cool. They've got all the proportions spot on, and if you love your vintage watches, I think you're going to love the Chronoking, as it's the closest vintage reissue that I've tried that feels more like new old stock rather than a new watch, but like solidly built in your old stock. Like I said, solid build quality, all elements feel quality, and the frictionless bezel, although frictionless, does not feel cheap in the slightest. The supplied leather strap is super supple and lovely on the wrist with quality hardware. 2-year warranty is decent, and being assembled in Switzerland usually means a higher standard of quality control. The bad, so the sustained luminosity of the Lume is pretty appalling. I mean, come on. The ugly, the only thing I could think that could be deemed as ugly is that if you're into collecting vintage watches, usually one of the reasons you do so is because those designs aren't that readily available anymore. You know, they're hard to get a hold of, and you've got to pay a price to get them. Whereas these reissues, of course, put a bit of dampener on that, especially when, you know, like the price of this is very well priced what you get. You know, granted, you know, it's a quartz, mechaquartz, but I think Nivada negated this somewhat in that the original cases were tonneau cases, so there is that change there. It's all about your perception, really. To me, it doesn't really matter because I don't buy a lot of vintage watches, but I could imagine that if you did, it might be a bit of a sticking point. If you love this watch, buying one might not be so easy, I'm afraid. The first Paul Newman release was 100 units, then the second was a 5-week window, which was then replicated again earlier in the year, but is now sold out. Considering the popularity of the watch, Nivada will likely release another batch, I reckon, don't know. Smiths do the same with their Everest model, though, and it's still in high demand. The salmon Chronoking is currently in stock and priced the same, and is not that bad looking either. $479 on leather or $679 on your choice of bracelet. Of course, that's exclusive of taxes and duties of your home country where you're shipping it in. If quartz is not your bag and you've got $2,180 to blow on a watch, you could pre-order the new Chronosport, which is opening up a 4-week window from the 25th of July, which is just as cool. I think it's a very cool looking watch. It's a 2 sub-register chrono running the Valju 7750 ETA automatic, and it's got an orange lume pip instead of an orange minute track, but the addition of a date complication makes it more of a daily watch in my opinion. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for joining me for another review. Now, I noticed while editing the video, I had said the word cool numerous times, and I came to the realization as to why they chose Paul Newman. Now, I know it's called a Paul Newman dial from Rolex and all those links there, but also Paul Newman was known as the king of cool. And this watch, if anything else, is very cool. Links to this watch and to other watches I think you might be interested in. These are primarily AliExpress links, as I am an AliExpress affiliate. You know, I've got the affiliate links there. Using those links does help the channel. Doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does keep us going. Also in the description is a link to Abinger watches. Now, Tom from Abinger Watches lent me this lovely Chronoking, and I've had it for ages. Sorry about that, Tom. Thank you for lending it to me. But the reason why I'm mentioning Tom also from Abinger Watches is because he is trying to get a new watch brand off the ground. So it'd be great if you can get over to Instagram, give him your support, and get this watch made. If you've liked this video, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. I would love to know what you think of the Chronoking. And like I said, get over to Instagram through the link, have a look at Abinger Watches, and let me know what you think of the Nimrod. I really, really think it's going to be a very cool watch if it gets made. So get over there, give them your support. Thanks for that, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.